Last spring, when I was wandering around Fairbanks, I saw a car standing on the side of the road. It had this camper in the back. So I tried to figure out who owns that car. Eventually found the person and I bought it. The problem was just that the car was pretty beaten up. There were big holes in the floor panel. There were big holes in the side. It had a lot of problems. The ignition didn't turn over anymore. So I thought I might have done a big mistake with buying that truck because I have no clue about cars and I have no clue how to fix them. To get out of this situation, I asked my friend Mike to help me with this project. The good thing was he said yes, so we got ready and we tried to make it happen.
My name is Mike. I'm from Czech and I study here at UAF. This year I'm graduating with Masters in Mechanical Engineering. A lot of stuff that I learn about cars is by either working on them or just watching a lot of YouTube, reading forums, asking people on forums what to do or what to not do. Yeah, basically just working on them. I really like cars like this. They have cool design you don't really see on the road anymore. They still have a spirit, like not like the new cars anymore. I see a lot of them on the sides of the road, in people's driveways, people's yards, cars that they bought and as a project car, but now they're just standing in the yard, slowly rusting away. Nothing is being done to them, and so I think that's a little bit of shame, and that's also why I like, you could call it rescuing. It's not really rescuing, but if there is a car that's pretty decent condition, I'm more than willing to work on it and get it back on the road. So the car you can see behind us, it's a 1984 Ford F150 pickup with a flatbed on it. It came with a 5.8 liter V8. It has a 4-barrel Holley carburetor on it and a 4-speed manual. The camper you can see on the flatbed is an Alaskan Camper. It has 4 hydraulic pistons to raise it and lower it, so it's actually pretty cool. It's slow like this when you drive it, and then when you camp you can jack it up and you can even stand in there. It's a 4-wheel drive and it has limited slip differential in the rear diff. So we started with the floor. We got new floor panels for it that we bolted in, painted over with a rubberized paint to prevent rust from occurring again. We fixed that.
No one's ever gonna see the hole anymore.
No one's gonna know.
How would they know?
We fixed the rusted cab with a fiberglass and Bondo. As you can see on the side, it's the white spot. We haven't painted it yet, but we covered up the rusty spots with that. The ignition actuator, it was actually a piece of metal that goes around the steering column that you push down once you turn the ignition key. One of the legs that the ignition key pushes against was broken off, so we had to fix that. We took apart the steering column, changed that, so now that is working, and then we had to take apart the whole carburetor. So this is the throttle from... See the problem?
Only one side opens.
Yeah, we're running on basically half of the carburetor.
Shit.
And these don't open because they never really open, and now they are rusted shut. So I put WD-40 there. Hopefully free it.
So it would even have more power with
Yes.
double the power.
No, not double, but they would have more.
Okay.
It's super jank. Look, like it's rusted shut. Like what the fuck, you know? This carburetor is... It's a poor guy. Someone didn't take care of it at all. I'll just let it sit somewhere.
Ah.
Not completely freely, but I can move it in my hands.
Sick.
Pretty good.
Yeah. How do you do it? Just WD-40?
Yeah.
And
Then I would
wait.
tap it from the sides, back and forth, back and forth. And eventually.
Nice.
We bought a gasket kit for it that we fixed it with, and luckily the issue was resolved. I think we have a first missing part.
Missing part.
Yeah. Yeah. So there should be a check valve.
It's not there.
Well, it should be like a metal ball because there's a whole little recess that seats. We'll consult the manual, but I think this is missing something. Alright. Come on, feel the voice. There is an O-ring, we should lube it, so we don't tear the shit out of it. Next up, because it was leaking so much gas into the carburetor, not only when it was standing, but also when it was driving, all the spark plugs were fouled, so we changed up those. We changed the oil, filter, the fuel filter, air filter, all this TLC stuff around the engine, filled up on the coolant, checked for coolant leaks, checked for oil leaks. We filled up the differentials with oil, the transfer case.
Refilling the transmission oil. They were totally empty.
That was most of the stuff that we did to it engine-wise. We had to switch the tires. We had to, since it wasn't insured and it didn't have license plates, we had to take the four wheels off, which was a greater task than we thought it's gonna be in the first place, since the camper was way heavier than we thought. So we got lucky there. We didn't tip the camper off of the car when we tried to jack the car up and get it on jack stands so we can take the wheels off. But luckily things went well. We got the tires off without tipping the camper. We got new tires for it. We got them balanced. We got them mounted. And then the last bigger job we had to do was get the camper mounted onto the flatbed, because it didn't come mounted, it just came on a flatbed. Someone just put it on. So we had to jack the camper off of the pallet and sit it back onto the flatbed. And we also, because the bottom of the camper is wooden and the flatbed is wooden, we painted the flatbed and the camper, and then we also put a narrow wooden planks, thin ones, that were spaced out like 12 inches apart to let air between the camper and the bed so the wood doesn't rot. And we also fixed up the camper with some fiberglass. The sheeting around camper was torn. Someone just tore it off of a different truck. They didn't really handle it well, so the outer shell was torn. Water was leaking inside, so we fixed that with some fiberglass and silicone. And the camper, because it's you can jack it up. It slides. The two walls slide against each other, so there is a seal between them. Well, it wasn't there, so we had to come up with one. We basically used a door seal for a garage door. It's basically a rubber strip that's like, I don't know, this wide, like 6 centimeters wide rubber strip that we put instead of the old one, which I think worked pretty good on the most parts. It's still rough on the front of the camper because that's where the water was leaking the most, so the wooden wall is rotted a lot. But we still got it on with a little bit of help of some silicone and glue, and
That one went deep.
yeah, I think that's most of the major stuff we did to the camper. We also fixed lights around the car. Some lights went out. We fixed those, and since we want to use it in winter, we also added a diesel heater to keep us warm, and a battery setup that we mounted under the bed so we can heat the camper in winter.
With the help of Mike, we actually made happen what seemed to be almost impossible when I bought the car in the first place. So I really want to thank Mike for helping me. It wouldn't have been possible without him. And also to Josh and Carl for letting me use their shop to fix it and their place to store the car. That definitely made things a lot easier. And now that the car is running and it works great, the last thing that we actually have to do is to go on an adventure. We're in the deltas right now, and I'm gonna show you our little setup with the camper, give you a little room tour. We're in a pretty nice camping spot, I would say. Built a little bench over there, and now we're drying our stuff outside because we went backcountry skiing today. And yeah, that's the camper. We have a diesel tank for the heater installed outside, and then we also have the propane tank that's up there, which is outside. And now we're gonna go inside and I'm gonna show you what's in there. So in here, first of all, down here we have our jack to jack up the camper because it's a pop-up camper, and they have copper lines going all around to pump it up with those stands. Then we have our stove that's connected to a propane tank outside to cook. We have some drawers here. We have a cutting board, which is pretty sweet. You can slide out. Then we have our sink with a hand pump that's connected to the water tank over there, and a second faucet that you can hook up to a water hose from the outside. Then we have some more storage room for food and stuff down here, and then we have our closet, I would say, over here. It's pretty cool. You can pull out this to put your hangers, hang up your coats and stuff. And up here we have more space to put stuff. Our battery that runs our diesel heater. Then we have a fridge. It's not running on propane or electricity or anything. It's basically just an ice box. So you put ice in here, and then there's a hose going outside for the melting water. We have more storage room down here. Then we have the outlet for our diesel heater here, and the diesel heater is down here under the couch, kind of. And the water tank is over there. Maybe you can see it. And yeah, and we have big windows. We have a air vent in the ceiling. We have a light that works if you hook up electricity to it. And then we have our table and our eating area. And if you want to make a bed out of it, you take out the table and then you fold down the seats, and then you have the entire area as a bed, and 2 people can easily sleep there.